Welcome back to A Little Bit of Cheese, your daily bite-sized Wisconsin sports podcast. I'm your host, Cody Depius. I want to thank you for being here with us once again today. It is Friday. We are officially into Oktoberfest weekend here in the city of La Crosse, Wisconsin. So a bunch of shenanigans going on all over the city. I was up at 5 o'clock this morning. It was weird. It was awesome, though. We got 5 a.m. breakfast. We got T-shirts and steins and a bunch of great stuff, which, of course, my circadian rhythm does not allow me to run off of just 5 hours of sleep, which is what I was on. So I took a nap, but we're back and we're ready to get everyone all set for another great weekend in Wisconsin sports. The Brewers yesterday, I recorded my podcast during the game. They had a 1-0 lead in the fourth inning at the time that I recorded. They ended up to win that game 5-2. This is a game that secured the season series, and Milwaukee officially now has not lost a season series against Pittsburgh since 2018. That's pretty remarkable stuff, considering when things were bad for Milwaukee, they were losing to Pittsburgh. And now you can kind of see 2018 and on, Milwaukee has been very good, and Pittsburgh, they're in a bad place to the point where they can't pay their players $200,000. Of course, I'm referring to the Rowdy Tellez situation we touched on earlier this week, but if you weren't there for that, Rowdy needed 4 more plate appearances to get a $200,000 bonus from the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they designated him for assignment right before that series against Milwaukee. So they didn't even want to give him one more game with an opportunity to get those 4 plate appearances to get that $200,000 bonus. That is how bad things are in Pittsburgh. I feel bad for all the Pirates fans because free agents aren't going to want to come play for Pittsburgh if those bonuses that are in the contract and you are going to negate anything that you've put in there and incentivized for these players to bring in a free agent who starts the entire season and to designate him for assignment, which is in layman's terms, that is cutting a player and sending him out into the world. He is not picked up by any team at this point. That's just a really, really low point. Over $200,000. It's actually pretty pathetic. Feel bad for Rowdy Tellez. Feel bad for Pittsburgh fans. And really the Pittsburgh players too, which right now they have a superstar in Paul Skeens. If you haven't heard of him, he's Livy Dunn's boyfriend. He might be the best pitcher in all of baseball right now. This is his rookie season, which he's going to be either first or second in the Rookie of the Year voting for the National League. It's going to be a really tight race, but he is a face for baseball. He was one of the top guys to watch in college. Did not spend a lot of time in the minor leagues because of how solidified his stuff was already. Found his way to the bigs this year and just lit it on fire. He was lights out, like Hall of Fame level talent. And who knows where he ends up in 5 years because, Pittsburgh is penny pinching to the point where they can't reward their players with $200,000. That is nothing in today's money. That sounds like it's just pathetic. I feel bad for it. Sorry, that's not the point that I'm trying to bring here. Really, there is no point to the rest of the Brewers season, although the team that they are playing starting tonight has a lot going for it, as the Mets are just 1 game ahead of the Braves for that last wild card spot in the National League. I believe Arizona is going to get that number 2 spot. They could fall off. Who knows what happens, but where the National League playoff picture stands, if you don't have that photographic memory, or I've been a little bit annoying when talking about it, it is the Dodgers and the Phillies at 1 and 2. Then the Milwaukee Brewers have the 3 seed as a divisional champion. The number 4 seed will go to San Diego. I believe the 5 seed will go to Arizona. That's still kind of up in the air, but I think that's definitely the best team. And I don't think Milwaukee has to worry too much about playing them first round of the playoffs. And then that last spot is going to be for the Mets or the Braves. And the Mets and the Braves are supposed to play a 3-game series this week, but of course, a hurricane happened, so they did not have the last 2 games of that series, and they'll be playing a doubleheader on Monday. Right now, the Mets have a 1-game lead over the Braves. So the Brewers, facing the Mets in a 3-game set now, are going to be getting New York's best. The game for tonight, they'll be facing Sean Manaea, who is 12-5 with a 3.29 ERA. It's a very, very good season. A guy who has had solidified success in the big leagues. And I think there actually might be some more storylines for it, as Frankie Montas will be on the mound for the Brewers tonight. I think, don't quote me on this, I'll have to go back and look regardless, but Frankie Montas and Sean Manaea might have pitched on the same Oakland Athletics team. Or if they weren't on the same team, it was just a year or two separating their tenures there. But Montas will be on the mound tonight for the Brewers. We talked a little bit about his game last Sunday, his last start that he had. He gave up 7 earned runs, did not look good, gave up 3 home runs. It was actually revealed that the Arizona Diamondbacks, who he was pitching against, they figured out what pitches he was throwing if they ever had anybody on second base. That in baseball is known as tipping pitches. So if Frankie Montas was about to throw a 1-2 slider, the person who is standing on second on the offensive side, of course, could look into Frankie Montas's glove because he wasn't hiding it well enough, and he would somehow signal to the hitter what was coming. If a hitter knows what's coming, they can do a lot of really good things. If you don't know anything about that, go and check back on the 2017 Houston Astros. A lot of stuff to read on there. Things involving trash cans. It's a fun story. If you don't know it and you're a sports fan, I'd be surprised if you don't. But even if you need to go and rekindle how crazy baseball was at that time, just go back, look up 2017 Houston Astros scandal, trash cans, buzzers, the whole shebang. But regardless, Frankie, that's a pretty easy fix. He had been pitching really well up until that start, but with his start tonight, that would put him in line to pitch the second game of the wild card series, which the wild card series will be taking place game 1 on Tuesday, excuse me, and then game 2 would be on Wednesday. So Frankie would be in slot for that. When you're talking about the Brewers playoff rotation, I think it's pretty obvious Freddie Peralta is going to be the number 1 guy. They had him pitch 1 extra out this week to get him to 200 strikeouts, a milestone he's now reached 2 times in a row. That's pretty cool stuff for Freddie, but with that, you knew it was going to be his last start before the playoffs, that they put him out there for that 1 out just so he could reach that milestone. So that's solidified. I would be very surprised. He's pitched well down the stretch. Of course, I said before, you can't expect length out of Freddie, but you can expect some good quality 5 innings of baseball out of Freddie Peralta. And then things get interesting. Tobias Myers, Frankie Montas, and Aaron Savali. I don't know what order it's going to be. I have a feeling that Aaron Savali will be towards the end of that rotation. He's pitched really well. He had a good start, of course, in the game yesterday. 6 innings pitched, did not give up a run, 3 hits, 1 walk. He struck out 5. He's really making a case for himself to be, I'd say, that third starter, which I think that second spot, it might be Tobias Myers. It might be Frankie Montas. I really don't know what I would prefer because I think all 3 of those guys are on a very similar level. And to be fair, I think Freddie Peralta has pitched to that similar level this year as well. But Freddie, of course, has had the success before. He has the better stuff. He's just an overall better pitcher. So we'll see how those last couple of spots shake up for Milwaukee. But the Mets, they're going to be playing their tails off to get that last spot before they have to go and play a doubleheader against Atlanta on Monday. And we'll see how things shake out. I think Milwaukee should be fine against either team, but we said that again last year. If they do end up playing the Mets in that wild card series, there's going to be a lot of storylines within it. Jesse Winker is on the Mets. He played for the Brewers last year, was really bad. People were mad when he was on the postseason roster and got a playoff at bat last year. So he could have a comeback game against the Brewers. That's a possibility. David Stearns is now the general manager of the New York Mets. He was the general manager of the Brewers from 2015 through 2023. And then left for more money in New York. That's another storyline, but a lot of things building up for that. There's some undertones there where things could go bad for Milwaukee, but of course, it's just a baseball thing. It's weird. I'm not saying this by looking at any numbers or making any predictions, just like the vibes. The vibes just feel weird if they were to play the Mets. But same goes for the Braves too. So whatever happens, happens. Milwaukee just better be ready when it comes to Tuesday, game 1 of the wild card series. But a 3-game set starting tonight against the New York Mets. Of course, Frankie Montas will be taking on Sean Manaea.